Well, hello everyone. I am so excited about today's episode of Motivated to Purpose. Hi, I am Dr. Juanette Turner, and I am your host of Motivated to Purpose. It is a transformative podcast dedicated to coaching, counseling, and motivating individuals to reach their full potential. And I'm excited about our special guest here today. We have Miss Sue Munro, who comes from UTSA APEX Accelerator. And she has more than 20 years of experience working with the federal government contracting, and the San Antonio Independent School District. She served as a project manager, senior business development specialist, a business development specialist at UTSA Center for Government Contracting, and also Procurement and Technical Assistance Center since 2013. So she has a wealth of knowledge, everyone, all of you who are listening. She is dedicated to providing business owners who are desiring to expand their business via federal, state, local arenas to be able to assist them in government contracting, as well as just giving them some general direction. She is also certified, so she has several certifications to include certified procurement, professional certification, federal contract certification, and a certified business advisor, as well as a veteran affairs certified counselor for all of you who are veterans who are listening today. I am so excited. So welcome, Sue. So happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. This is exciting. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, it is so exciting, and we are excited to have you to be a part and to just share with us just your wealth of knowledge. And so I'm excited about our questions, and please just give us nuggets as we need them, okay?
I will do.
So one question that has come up is for brand new businesses. What are some first steps to becoming eligible for contracts with the government?
So, government is kind of fickle. They like to do business with folks that are experts at what they do. So, if you're a brand new business, doing government contracting, if you set up your LLC yesterday and you think you're going to go out and get contracts tomorrow, it's probably not going to happen. Is it possible? Anything's possible, right? But what government looks for is they like you to have past performance. So what I usually tell folks that are first a brand new business just starting out, learn about government contracting, attend the networking events, the trainings, but don't focus just on government, because government it's a process and it takes time. So focus on the commercial market, build your revenue, build your employees, build the business. And then during that time, you're learning about government contracting, and then you can go after government contracting. So usually government likes to see some past performance, maybe a year or two doing some business in the commercial sector. And of course, subcontracting is a great way to get started. So you could subcontract with companies that are already doing government contracting, whether it's local, state, or federal. So that's a great way also to start.
Okay. All right. So I definitely want to go there, but tell our audience how UTSA APEX Accelerator can assist them in navigating this.
So yes, so UTSA's APEX Accelerator, we are funded by the Department of Defense, and we work with small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, to do local, state, and federal contracting. So we can provide one-on-one advising. We are in a transition process right now, so the one-on-one advising may take us a while to get back to that point, but we also do a lot of trainings. We have a monthly networking breakfast at CPS Energy. And so getting out there and networking with the different agencies, with other businesses, can really help you expand your business. So we can also we do trainings on marketing to local, state, and federal agencies. We also can assist with narrowing down your target audience, finding the agencies that look, that are buying what you offer. So that helps because there's a lot of government out there, right? And they buy a lot of stuff. But so you want to narrow down your target market so you're not spinning your wheels. So we offer, we can assist with that. We also have a bid matching program called Bid Match. And basically, that will email you solicitations based on your industry codes, your keywords, and it can be local, state, and federal to include local cities, local municipalities, local school districts all across the U.S.
So, so how does, I know you're speaking about the how do people get connected with UTSA Apex in order to have these things, these benefits?
So you can visit our website. Probably the best way to get in contact is to send me an email, and then I can send you the email to our intake form as well as to all the training and events that we have coming up. So yes, so you're more than welcome to send me an email. We do ask that, you do have some past performance, some revenue prior to reaching out just because we have had some cuts. So we, had a reduction in staff. So right now, like I said, we are kind of going through a transition, but I'd be happy to field any questions. I always try to answer my emails as quickly as possible, but just realize that we, are a very small team. So, but we are small but mighty.
Well, that is so awesome that you will, and so listeners, that you who are listening, so to be able to contact Sue directly, the email will be posted just below. So please feel free to reach out to her and give her some time, as she's indicated. So they're mighty, but they're small. So give her some time to be able to respond back to you. And I know you indicated you want ideally businesses that have history and they've had some working revenue for at least a year is what I heard you say. So
Yes.
before reaching out. Okay. That sounds absolutely amazing. So you were speaking about subcontracting. Can you talk a little bit more about that for businesses that
Sure, sure. Subcontracting is a great way to grow your business, both in revenue, of course, and in past performance. Because when you get those government contracts, government doesn't pay you up front. So you do need to have revenue in order to do the work so you can pay your employees, pay for supplies, etc. So contracting is a great way to get your foot in the door with government contracting, whether it's local, state, or federal, because now you're not dealing directly with that particular agency. You're dealing with the prime, but you're gaining all this experience and learning how the government works, learning how that particular agency works. The question I get asked all the time, well, how do I find those subcontracting opportunities? Where are they? Well, that's where the networking comes in. So, government, like I said at first, government is a process. On average, it can take anywhere from 24 to 36 months to get your very first prime contract. Not a subcontract, a prime contract. So, what does that mean for you? Well, that means that you have spent a lot of time, feet on the ground, networking, talking to the different agencies. So when you're at these networking events, network with the other businesses that are there because you never know when there's an opportunity that you may be able to team up with and go after a bigger piece of the pie. Or maybe they're looking for someone that has your capabilities. And so, it's a great way to kind of expand. So subcontracting is a great way. Like I said, finding those subcontracting opportunities It's a process. Networking events, you can also attend pre-bid conferences. So when agencies put out a solicitation, they usually have a period, and sometimes they're mandatory, where it's a pre-bid conference. They're either in person or virtual. But when you attend those, you're meeting other companies that are interested in that particular opportunity, and maybe you can team up with one of them. So
My goodness, that sounds like two amazing ways of being able to, for businesses that have some establishment, of course, to be able to subcontract with another agency via the bid, pre-bid, and or the networking events that. So that's, I mean, I think that is so valuable and such good information for those who are listening. And I know you talked about CPS Energy having that UTSA APEX does a networking with in conjunction with CPS on a monthly basis.
yes, so CPS has been very generous and they are hosting our breakfast for 2025. And then we have different agencies coming in and talking about opportunities that they have. So we usually have about 60 folks in attendance. We have everything from small businesses to federal agencies, state agencies, local agencies. And it's just, like I said, a great way to connect.
So tell me, I know we're talking about federal, state, and local. Is there, where would you suggest a business, in which sector would you suggest a business that is starting out to attempt to work in what area would you suggest?
If that business doesn't have any contracting experience, I would suggest starting at the local and state level. In San Antonio, we are very lucky. There's so many resources out there, but you can apply for your local certifications through the SCTRCA, and they are the regional certification agency. They will get you, you can apply for your local as well as your Texas Hub certification. It's free and it's good for 2 years. Now, there is a backlog. That's the only drawback. But once you get your application in, you start that process, you can still start connecting with the local agencies and let them know that, hey, I've submitted it. It's in work. So that's a great way to start. Once you kind of get your feet wet with the local and state, of course, you can go to federal. And it really kind of depends on what the company wants to do. That's usually where I tell folks to start. Sometimes folks are like, nope, I just want federal. I'm like, fine, let's go to federal then. So, but
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Well, really good information because, I think that, we think automatically we want to go to one, and it may be actually easier to do a local, as you stated, and start out getting your certifications and then moving into some more areas if the company desires to do that. So
Exactly.
tell me, what key elements should a business include in their capabilities statement? I know the importance of that statement.
So, yes, so a capability statement is basically a one-page business resume that highlights what the company does, right? So, you want to list your core capabilities. What is it that the company is really good at doing, right? What do you offer? What are your key objectives? Of course, you want to list your contact information. They need a way to contact you. You want to list your differentiators. So, what makes you stand out from the competition? Why should an agency use you over someone else? So, and again, this is one page. So, you need to be very strategic in your wording. You want to be very succinct. Explain what you do. Do not use a lot of words, use bullet. You want to make it as easy to read as possible. Just think about your own personal resume. What do they always tell you? It has to be easy to read, right? And to the point. So you want your marketing capability statement to do just that. Highlight what the company does, the core competencies, what makes you different and stand out from the crowd. List your next codes or your industry codes. So federal and local agencies use next codes, and local and state agencies use NIGP codes. So there's two different categories, but basically they describe what a company does. You list your past performance. So if you're a new company and you don't have any past performance, you can use your past experience as it relates to what the company is doing. So that's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door, let them know, the agency know that you can do what it is that you're saying you're doing, right? Do not be a jack of all trades. They don't like that. Like I said earlier, they want to work with the experts in the field. So your logo, your contact information, keywords, differentiators, core competencies, and again, you want to make it presentable. So use some pictures. Don't just use a bunch of words.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that's really good information. I love, being able to utilize, even if you have the skill set, but you don't have the past performance, and being able to include that skill set on there. And I heard you say, don't be a jack of all trades. Be an
Yes.
expert. Yes.
Exactly. I always get folks, well, what does the government buy? Because that's what I'm going to sell. I'm like, no, it does not work that way. You need to focus on what it is that you do and what you can do, what you're an expert at doing. So,
Yes. So such good information. So tell me, it's still in that same vein, because you gave our audience a lot of information about this capability statement. Where can they go, or what is that something you can help with, or what would you suggest that they do in order to maybe even get some models of what that can look like for them?
so that is something that we can assist with. We actually have a training coming up, and I will put the training link. Our trainings that we have are that include the breakfast and everything, because we do have a capability training up. We have 10 steps to government contracting. So I will put that link in chat so you can send that out to your audience. But yes, that is definitely something we can help with. And, another thing that's really amazing, something called Google. So if you Google, marketing capability statements for janitorial businesses, a lot of times you will find, because companies that do government contracting will post their capability statement on their website because it's a marketing tool, right? So if you have it downloadable as a PDF, then you can kind of go and look at those capability statements of companies that are doing something similar to what you do to get an idea. There's all different kinds of layouts and templates. So, you just want to make sure it's easy to read and, it gets across your point, what you're trying to do.
Really good. So, audience, of course, that information is posted as it pertains to how you can get your capabilities, either via training, and that is so awesome. I love it. I love the training. So, and the 10 steps to government contracting, that's so awesome. I mean, the title within itself is like exciting.
Yes, and that's a webinar, so that can be taken anytime. Like I was saying, that link that I just posted for our training, it also includes the breakfast. But there's also, like I said earlier, we are so lucky. There's so much to do in San Antonio. A lot of it is free. Our trainings are free. There is the San Antonio, it's not posting. There is a conference coming up in August, and it's the San Antonio Business Opportunity Council, and they host an annual contracting conference at the Norris Center. There is a fee for this. Right now, it is the early bird pricing of $55, but it's a great networking event. It's on the smaller scale, and you're going to have a federal contracting panel, a local and state contracting panel. We're going to have an exhibitor room where you can go and talk to all the different agencies. So that itself is a great networking event that's coming up in August. And I just posted that in chat as well.
Yes, I see that. Okay, audience. Well, I hope you are taking notes and getting this wealth of information. about governmental contracting and getting your certifications and the trainings that are available to you to be able to reach out to Sue, and also link into the links that have been provided for you for um, for your business and advancing your business. Oh my goodness. So many, so much a wealth of information. So thank you for that and sharing, just even the upcoming events that are happening. I think those are awesome. And I know for one, I'll plan to be there myself.
Well, good.
Okay, so how can a new business meaning a year, 2 years old, how can a new business effectively um, connect with, I know we talked about the prime contractors and then the networking, and the resources that are there. Are there other ways that they should reach out, or are those it?
Yeah. So if, when you are at these networking events, you're going to be collecting business cards, right? Rule number one, you get everyone's business card in the room. And then you have a contact list. So what you're going to do is formulate your list. Hopefully you made some notes when you talk to them on what they are looking for. And if it's something that you can help them with, then you can tailor your capability statement to meet those needs, of course, assuming it's something you can do, and then send them your capability statement and request a one-on-one meeting. Now, you do have to have thick skin. They don't always respond right away because there's a lot of small businesses and only a few contracting folks, right? So be patient, be persistent, and maybe every fifth Friday you send a follow-up email. And maybe you got a new contract you're excited about, and now you're offering a new service or product. You can update your capability statement and send it back out to those contacts, letting them know, hey, here's my updated capability statement. I'm still very interested in doing work with you. I would love to meet with you one-on-one. So that is a great way to do it. Usually, what I tell folks, because sometimes, people, it is easy to get discouraged, but usually it takes about 10 touches, whether it's meeting in person, a phone call, or an email for you to get a response. So that's why I say you have to have thick skin. Don't take it personally. Just because it's a no doesn't mean it's a no forever. It's just a no for now.
Yes, yes. So good. So I heard the one-on-one, networking, making notes on your documentation so you can follow up, collecting the business cards, asking and then contacting and reaching out for a one-on-one. And that is going to require persistence, persistence in that reach out because of just the limited number of people that are able to even connect with you regarding the contracts, is what I hear. Persistence, and I heard at least 10 touches. Don't get discouraged and expect at least 10 touches before you get any type of response. And I think that's a good number. Yeah, that's a good number. Well, I think
Yeah,
it's a good number because then it gives people some idea.
yes.
If they reach out once or twice and nobody reached back, and then they get discouraged, then they move on. But to know that, hey, you know what? It's going to take a little while.
Yes, it does. And that's why I say government contracting, whether local, state, or federal, is a process.
Yes. Yeah. I hear that. I hear that. I hear that. But I think as you stated, looking at the subcontracting with another agency, right? So that might be the more ideal way of going. If you already have someone in the room that you've gone to maybe one of these pre-bid meetings and somebody's in the room already, and you can piggyback along with them in order to apply for this contract, or the networking opportunities, and maybe someone else has previously had that contract, right? And you can get to know them, and maybe you can be a part of that contract in that way.
Exactly. And there's smaller contracts for that are done on credit cards. So if your company is accepting credit cards, then those are the micro purchases. At the federal level, it's 10,000 and under. At the local and state level, it's all a little bit different, but it's the low-hanging fruit, we call it. And how do you find those? Well, that's where networking comes in because, again, they don't post that information. But if you have been doing your due diligence, you've been sending your capability statement, you have on your capability statement that you accept credit cards, and maybe you sell pens. And all of a sudden one day, oh my gosh, yes, this guy keeps sending me emails. I'm going to call him because I need pens and I'm going to put it on their purchase card. So that's another possibility, a possible way to do government contracting is via credit card.
Okay, well, I think that yes, it gives some people, other opportunities, and maybe wouldn't have known that had we not been talking about it today. So thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. So for those of you who are listening, looking at opportunities to network in order to secure maybe one of the smaller contracts, or what Sue has termed as the low-hanging fruit, and with credit cards, if you use credit cards for your processing. So really good information. Tell me, what financial considerations should a new business keep in mind when they are preparing to work with government agencies? And thank you for that link. So, really good.
Yes, I was going to say, I just thought of another networking event. The annual Bear County Contracting Conference this year is the 25th year. It's the second Wednesday after Thanksgiving. So it's in December. I think it's the second week in December. They don't actually have it posted yet, but it is in work. So mark your calendars, everyone. That's the granddaddy of all events. But as far as answering your question, so so like I said earlier, government does not give you money up front. You don't get paid until you have delivered something, or whether it's, a service or a product. And if it's a product, it has to go through the QA check. If it doesn't pass QA, they can send it back and you still don't get paid, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you get a contract and you have to hire folks, how are you going to pay those folks, right? Because government, again, you have to submit an invoice and then it can take anywhere from 30, 60, sometimes 90 days to get paid. So what I always tell folks, that's why I say work on targeting commercial sectors because that's a little bit quicker. Subcontracting opportunities is also a little bit quicker. But go to your bank, work with your bank, get a line of credit, have something that can help you bridge the gap from when you get that contract to when you get paid. Because that's the most important thing. And we all know banks never give you money when you need it, right? You only get it when you don't need it. So, so just, if, work on, because if you're a new business, they're going to look at your personal credit. So if your personal credit isn't that good, work on that. Because all of this is going to help you build your business so you can start going after those larger contracts. So financial constraints are a problem sometimes. I have had some clients that get contracts and they don't know how they're going to fund them. And that's the worst situation to be in. So prepare yourself. If you're going to start doing government contracting, whether it's local, state, or federal, make sure you're able to actually fulfill that job and have the financial resources to do it.
Really good information. And I just want to reiterate some things that you shared. So I heard one is, as a new business, even if you're going into the bank to establish a line of credit or some sort of installment plan, installment loan, that, it's necessary for you to have your credit, because that's what the bank is going to be dependent upon. And recognizing that as a business that is contracting with the government, that you won't receive payment immediately. And I know you said 30, 60, or even 90 days before you will receive payment, depending upon whether you're offering the product or service, right? And so I heard that. So I think that is so good. So business owners to really work on your credit, making sure that you have financial resources in your credit, which is probably your financial resource is your credit, making sure that is up to par as it pertains to being able to secure what you're needing. And you posted something else.
Yes, so I was just going to say, if you are thinking about doing government contracting and maybe you're looking at maybe getting a line of credit or a loan, the UTSA SBDC, they can assist with that. They also have some great trainings, and 90% of them are free. And it's all about, making your business stronger and better. So take advantage. Like I said earlier, San Antonio has so many resources for entrepreneurs. So make sure you're taking advantage of all these free resources.
Well, as you keep giving me these links, I'm like, oh my goodness, we have a wealth of resources here. We really
Yes.
do, to be able to get the training you need, and you'll have the knowledge that you need, and be able to network and secure the contracts that you are desirous to secure at whatever point in time. So I love the just being able to see the resources, everyone. So being able to click into those resources and one step at a time, right? Because we can easily get overwhelmed.
It's very easy to get overwhelmed.
So looking at one resource at a time and being able to, glean from the various resources. And then of course, Sue's already shared that, sending her an email if you have any questions, or, and attending some of the trainings that are available in order to learn, even as you are seeking after the contracts. That is so good. So tell me, what are some common mistakes that businesses make when writing governmental contract proposals? Common mistakes for those. Yes.
Well, the first thing is they don't read them. You have to read them. I'm sorry. Some of these are, 200 pages long. So, and it's overwhelming. And of course, it's all in legalese, right? But the more you look at these, the more you become familiar with them. What I always tell folks to do first, read through it, make sure you need to download everything. I'm old school. I have to print it out and highlight, right? Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
But read through all of the attachments. They usually give you the evaluation criteria, what they are looking for, what's most important. Sometimes it's price. Sometimes it's your technical approach. Sometimes it's a past performance. So it really depends on what it is. But if you look at that, and if price is number one, then you know right off the bat that they're going with low bid. So you need to have your best game on, right? Because they do care about past performance and technical, but they're going with the lowest price if price is number one. And usually they do it in a percentage. Sometimes it's the technical approach. That doesn't mean you can still charge $1 million more than anyone else. That's not going to cut it. But the technical approach, what I tell folks, especially if you are doing a technical service or something, things that companies can do now, write their executive summary, because they're all going to ask for that. Know what your technical approach is. So if you are a widget manufacturer and you have an intern and you're bringing on this intern and showing them the ropes, start doing your bullet points. What are you walking them through? What processes do they need to know? Because you can have all of this on paper. And then, you can also do the same for your past performance. What jobs have you done that are similar in size and scope that you're responding to, right? Usually they ask for 3 to 5 years of past performance or references. So every job that you complete, summarize it. How much did it cost? How long did it take? How many people? What was the target? What was the goal of the project? So you want to quantify all this and summarize it. So when you are responding to a solicitation, it's much easier to work with something and tweak it than starting from scratch, right? So you can start now with your executive summary, your technical approach, your past performance and references. And then, of course, you need to have a good handle on your pricing. I don't know what your pricing is. I don't know what your overhead is, what your G&A is, all of that. If you have brick and mortar versus being, remote. So because people will come to me, well, what do I charge? Well, I can't tell you that. That is something that you need to know, and you need to have a really good grasp on what your pricing is, because government can come back and say, okay, we want to see your breakdown. So how did you come to this $50,000? They want to see your profit. Yes, the government wants you to make a profit. Are you going to make a 50% profit? No. But they do want you to make a profit. There's no sense in bidding on anything if you can't make a profit. But you need to be able to break down, what's the widget cost? How much does it cost to tweak it? How much labor is involved? What's your overhead? All of that. So you need to be able to break down your pricing. And usually pricing to me is the most difficult because I can't tell you what to charge. I don't know. I don't know what the market is. So that's where you need to have a really good handle on what it is that your company is doing and some past experience so you know what to charge. You know what your technical approach is. You know how to deliver this widget, within the constraints. So the common mistakes, people don't read. You have to read it. And sometimes you may have to read it more than once because it's not going to make sense. Look for the checklist, look for the evaluation criteria, because that can help narrow things down for you. Start working on your past performance and technical approach. Just do a bullet list, and then you can always tweak it later. The same with your executive summary. So my biggest thing is people always, Sue, how do I do this? I'm like, well, is it something you can do? I don't know. I haven't read it. And I'm like, no, don't do that. You have to read it. And the biggest thing is make sure it's something you can do, not what your best friend is doing, because that doesn't cut it. And if you're brand new, just starting out and it's a, $5 million job, no, don't. I mean, how are you going to do this? You have to be pragmatic and, realistic about it.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know listeners, I'm going to encourage you to listen to this podcast again and probably again and again so that you can, even grab. I know you talked about the contracting and whatever the contractor is leading with gives you some indicator of what's most significant or what's most important to the contractor. And I think that that is just really good information that does a whole lot right there just to know, you get some insight into
Exactly.
what is. And then I heard the technical and 3 to 5 years performance, making sure your references are there, making sure that you can break down your pricing and be able to articulate your pricing and the overhead cost that's associated with your pricing. And then I heard the executive summary. But listeners, again, I just encourage you to listen again. So
And to those companies that may be just starting out and don't have a lot of past performance, again, you can use your past experience, but it needs to pertain to the job at hand. Were you the project manager on a job in the similar size and scope? So you can explain what you did. So you can use your past experience, but it has to be pertinent to what it is that they're looking for.
So, well, I think I thank you for reiterating that because it doesn't shut certain people out when they think that they don't have this because they've not had the past performance in the business per se, but they've had the past, experience in their lives. So,
Exactly.
my goodness. Okay, let's see here. So we are so what are some, oh no, let's go VA. Let's go VA.
Okay.
And so you gave us your role. And so, what are some unique advantages or resources that are available to veteran entrepreneurs?
So, for veterans in the state of Texas, if you are starting a brand new LLC and you are the only owner and you're a veteran, of course, the state of Texas, you can apply for a free LLC in the state of Texas. Usually it's $300. And I'm looking for the link right now, but the state of Texas, but you have to be the 100% owner. It can't be, 51 veteran owned, and then the
Okay.
wife has the other. It has to be 100% veteran owned, and of course, be for profit. And and you can get a free LLC in the state of Texas. In fact, they have a and I'm sorry, I'm looking for yeah, here's the link. So I'm going to put this in chat. There are some things you have to, follow. First, you have to get a veterans verification letter from the Texans Veterans Commission, and they can also assist veterans with one-on-one advising as well. So the state of Texas, I believe it's through the end of this year.
Okay.
Yes, the December 31st of 25. So if you're a veteran thinking about starting an LLC, you can do that for free.
Okay. Is that, I know you gave that date of the end of this year. Is that the cutoff time for even getting the free resource, or?
No, just for the free LLC. And they have extended it in the past. So most likely, well, I can't guarantee, but most likely it will be extended. But that's just to apply for the LLC. Then the Texas Veterans Commission, they can also assist small businesses with setting, veteran-owned businesses and one-on-one advising. They do some trainings as well. And then at the local agency, so if you are within the San Antonio or surrounding counties, South Central Regional Certification Agency, you can get your veteran business enterprise certification, the VBE.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah. And if you are at least 20% service disabled, you would qualify for the Texas Hub certification as well. So there are some small business certifications for veterans at the local and state level. Of course, at the federal level, you have the SD, VOSB, or BOSB certifications that you have to apply to SBA for. And all three levels, local, state, and federal, are all separate. So you can't use your state certification at the federal level or at the local level. It only applies to state. So
Okay, veterans. So there are resources that are available to you, even, if you're planning to start your LLC this year, you might as well just go ahead and get it taken care of, because the state fee, that $300 fee, will be taken care of or waived because
yeah.
of your veteran status. And then linking into the certifications and getting those certifications for yourself. Are there other resources or advantages for veterans as it pertains to contracting? And I know you talked about the certification, but are there any other resources?
So, yes, and the whole point of getting certifications are really a verification process. So, when you're talking to government agencies, do not lead with your certifications. You want to lead with your expertise. And then as you close up, oh, by the way, I'm veteran owned and I have my certifications. So, as far as other resources, we have the Texas Veterans Commission. Of course, we can assist veterans with their certifications as well at the local, state, and federal level. And there is another organization, and I am drawing a blank, darn, but they are, oh my goodness, it used to be part of, okay, well, I'll have to come back to that because I
Okay.
just
Well, you
lost
can
it.
send it to me and we'll make sure
Okay.
it's added. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. But yes, there are a lot of resources. And again, hey, we're lucky to be in San Antonio because, local agencies have veteran set-asides. The city has a veteran preference. So that's where the South Central Regional certifications would come into play at the local level. So And of course, the federal government does set asides for veteran-owned businesses as well.
Okay, well, veterans, there is a wealth of resources, and also definitely reach out to Sue. And that information again is being provided in addition to the various links that you can link into in order to learn and get the training you need, get the information you need, start your networking journey to your contracting in that vein. Once a business secures a government contract, what are the best practices for long-term growth and sustainability for that business?
Well, first of all, you want to stay in really good contact with your contracting officer because if there's any hiccups along the way, maybe your supplier has a delay, you want to make sure your first point of contact is that contracting officer. You know the saying, it's always good to deliver good information quickly. Well, it's even better to deliver bad information quicker. So make sure you're in good standing, good contact with your contracting officer, and make sure you understand the contract. Read it. I had a client once that thought he could be reimbursed for travel when the contract actually stated, no, you cannot be reimbursed for travel, but he had already traveled for the contract. So you want to make sure the first thing you do is that you actually read the contract and you understand it because you are saying that you can do what is in that contract. So you want to make sure you understand it. If you don't, maybe it's a good idea to reach out to an attorney just to make sure you're on the right page. So, stay in contact with the contracting officer, following the deliverables, making sure you're meeting all the deadlines, submitting your invoices. That's a process in itself, and it will tell you in the contract how to do that. So make sure you follow the instructions in that contract because that's going to be very important. Staying in contact with a contracting officer is, yeah, I would say number one.
Okay. So I heard the maintaining that relationship with your contracting officer, and once again I heard read.
Yes, you have to read it. It's a contract.
Right. So reading the information so that you know what's in the R is it an RFP?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So whatever is in the solicitation, the clauses, contract clauses, those will roll over into the contract.
Yeah.
So when you're responding to that solicitation and you sign that solicitation, you're saying that you understand all that. So make sure, that you do.
Yes. Yes. So good. Okay. Well, tell me this. Is there anything else? I mean, you have given us a wealth of information, wealth of knowledge, wealth of resources that listeners go ahead and link in and get access to the various resources that Sue generously gave us. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the listeners?
Yeah, one thing I'm going to do, you kept saying LinkedIn, so I am going to put my LinkedIn page
Okay.
because because anything I see on LinkedIn that has to do with small business, I share. So I try to share as much information as possible on LinkedIn. I post, CPS Energy sends me their opportunities every week, so I try to post those. There's industry days coming up, other networking events that other agencies host. So use LinkedIn to your benefit. If there's somebody, a company that you want to connect with, check them out on LinkedIn. Try to find their procurement contact because LinkedIn is a great way to kind of stay abreast of, what's happening. And even at the federal level, a lot of the federal agencies are posting opportunities or posting information on the changes. So you want to make sure you're staying up to date on everything because, there is a lot going on nowadays.
Yes, yes, so good. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that resource for LinkedIn. So another way for the listeners to be able to connect with you is via LinkedIn, and also just having access to the resources that you are sending out, and being just that piece of networking that you're doing there to make sure that the community has that access. So that is really good information. Okay. Well, I am so grateful and so thankful to you. There is absolutely no way that I can regurgitate all of what Sue has shared with you today. But I so encourage you. The links, of course, to the various sites are going to be posted or posting below. And so you will be able to access those. Of course, you have access to Sue via email, via LinkedIn. Then you have a wealth of resources that are available to you, networking opportunities, training events that are coming up, um, various networking opportunities throughout the year, and training events that are coming up. And so encourage you to connect and to utilize and re-listen to this, because Sue gave some really valuable information about even looking at potential contracts, and what, getting some idea of even what the contractor is looking for. Also being able to make sure that you are, even in your capability statement, looking at, if you don't have the previous work experience, or your business doesn't have that, to be able to use your personal experience. She talked about just your making sure that you get your credit in line, because if you're needing to have financial resources until payments come from contracts, then you would even have access, you'll have the resources because you won't be paid immediately up front. There was just so much information that was provided. And so, listeners, I so encourage you again to listen to the podcast, listen again, share it with prospective business owners that are looking to, maybe they've just started business, maybe they've been in business, and now they're looking to contract with the local, federal, local, state, or federal government, so that there are just some resources, and even giving them some step by step to be able to get in line with their process. And Sue also shared that 10-step training, that 10 steps to governmental contracting. So preparing to even maybe attend that training so that you can be on your way in that process. She shared so much information. I'm like at the little tippy top of it, not even being able to regurgitate what she's shared with us today. But I so encourage you again to connect with Sue, to like the podcast, to share it with someone else. Please leave your comments. Again, the information, all the resources that Sue shared with us will be posted below, so that will be easily accessible to you. So we thank you so much, Sue, for joining us today. Oh my goodness, it has been so amazing.
Well, you are so welcome, and thank you. This was fun. I did want to say real quickly, I did find the other resource for veterans. It's the Institute for Veterans and Military Families. It used to be called Bunker Labs, but they also have an entrepreneurship program as well, and it's more free resources for veterans. So I posted that link in chat.
Okay, yes, I see that now. So veterans, we were speaking a little earlier, and so Sue was able to comb through her index and Rolodex in her mind, and find that resource for the veterans. So just another resource, because there were several that were provided on today. So again, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Again, like, share, leave your comments here, and we will look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye now.